like scary movies.
Uh-huh.
It's October, Halloween is on the way, and that means it's time for some blood, guts, and gore. This is a supersized episode, so let's not waste any time. Here are 9 things you didn't know about the Scream films. Probably. Scream's opening sequence set the tone for the film as a whole right away, and let the audience know that they could take their expectations and shove them. And one critical element of that first sequence is the voice of the killer on the phone. What you probably didn't know is that isn't the voice of anyone we actually see in the film. It's a voice actor named Roger Jackson, who was a local hire in Santa Rosa, California, where they were filming. They'd been searching high and low trying to cast the killer's voice and decided to bring in Jackson as a temp until they found their permanent option. But he was so good that he wound up playing the voice. Literally, he's credited just as the voice, all the way through Scream 2, 3, and 4. And if you had no idea that they even made a Scream 4, consider that, boom, a bonus thing. Drew Barrymore wanted to make sure she felt the maximum amount of tension in her scenes where she's on the phone with the killer, so even though they had Jackson outside the house talking to her on the phone in real time for each scene, she made sure that she never met him face to face until she was wrapped. That right there is, boom, a legitimate bonus thing you didn't know. Moving on. Even though there are 4 Scream films, there are even more installations in the Scary Movie franchise, which has made a killing parodying Scream. Ugh, sorry. Anyway, what most people don't know is the original title for Scream was Scary Movie. They had crew shirts, hats, and, scripts, obviously, all printed with the title Scary Movie.
It's a Scream, baby!
Stu's line right there was only added toward the end of shooting when they changed the name to Scream in the 4th quarter. It was Miramax that decided they should change the name, and the late Wes Craven actually hated it at first. But once Scream came out and went on to be the success that it was, he later said that he couldn't imagine it being named anything else. If you're watching this, then you should already know what happens to Stu in Scream, so you'll probably be surprised to hear that Stu is actually in Scream 2. Technically, it's more of an Easter egg, but since Matthew Lillard and Neve Campbell were dating at the time of filming, he happened to be hanging around set that day. Next thing you know, they're sneaking a should-be-dead character into the party scene, so keep your eyes peeled for a blurry background zombie Stu next time you're watching Scream 2. The Ghostface Killer, obviously not that Ghostface Killer, the one from Scream. Well, the Ghostface mask has become as iconic as Jason's hockey mask or Michael Myers' mask, wig, all in one thing. But these days, most people don't realize that the Ghost mask wasn't an original. It was an off-the-shelf item they found while location scouting for the film, and it was common enough to be found at pretty much any Halloween store. Kevin Williamson's script for Scary Movie, as it was known at the time, simply indicated that the killer wore a ghost mask. Production had to sort out the rest, including how to make sure that you wouldn't be able to guess the killer from the hands, pants, or shoes. They'd originally planned for the killer's costume to be white on account of the whole ghost theme. It was Mariana Maddalena, one of the producers, who suggested they change the costume to black to make it more menacing. Hopefully, they gave her a raise after that one. Oh, and that also makes, boom, another bonus thing. Scream wound up being a lot better and way more successful than anyone was expecting. The later films? Not so much. A lot of people feel that the franchise took a turn for the worse with Scream 3, so it probably won't be a surprise to hear that they basically didn't even have a script ready before they started filming Scream 3. Production had rented stages and built sets before there was any script. Since they were on the hook paying for everything, they had to get going and just wrote the script on the fly as they were shooting, which is why it's so good. The actors were getting handed script pages they'd never even seen before right there on set.
Oh, what's it say?
Ugh. It says quit playing to the cheap seats, Emily Mortimer. Next thing. This crane shot outside the school in Scream is pretty cool, the way it just swoops down and then keeps going on at ground level. Want to know how they did it? Well, too bad, because I'm about to tell you anyway. They achieved this shot by having the Steadicam operator standing on the crane, stepping off of it onto the sidewalk, and then continuing the shot on foot, which is super clever and also super dangerous, probably. Scream 2 will celebrate its 20th anniversary this December. Boom, bonus thing. So a lot of people have forgotten how much the first film helped to revive Wes Craven's career. After New Nightmare and Vampire in Brooklyn, things weren't exactly going great. So it was only fitting that he make this cameo in Scream wearing the original costume from A Nightmare on Elm Street, one of his most famous films. Plus, in this scene, when Sid is trying to call for help through the computer interwebs, the address she types in is 34 Elm Street. We just don't get to see it because it was cut for pacing. Another reference to the Elm Street franchise that could have been, and another bonus thing you didn't know. As long as we're on bonus things, Craven also had a cameo in Scream 3. There he is behind Jay and Silent Bob holding the camera. And the guy with him eating popcorn? That's the DP. Who, by the way, also has a cameo in Scream 2 where he's serving popcorn. So now you know that. You're welcome. Let's talk about this scene from the second film, because there was a near disaster on set filming it. The guy underneath the stage controlling the CO2 dropped his mask during a take, but because of all the smoke, which in a case of truly unfortunate irony he was generating, he couldn't see well enough to pick up his mask. Luckily, the crew heard his cries for help in time, and some stagehands were able to jump down there and rescue him so he didn't, asphyxiate and die. Last thing. Let's end with the beginning. Going back to Drew Barrymore's sequence in the first film. There was a lot of pushback from the MPAA because of the violence in Scream, and being able to secure an R rating was on the line. In this shot where she, gets stabbed, there's really no other way to describe it, the MPAA thought it was just way too intense and wanted it swapped out for another take that was less graphic. But Wes Craven lied to them and said that he didn't have another take so that he could keep the one he wanted to use. Can't believe that actually worked, but well played, Craven. Then for this reveal shot of her hanging in the tree, the reason it plays at this sped up rate was not an artistic choice. To please the MPAA, they cut every other frame, which meant the shot would play 50% faster versus playing in real time. And by the way, that's not even Drew Barrymore hanging in a harness wearing special effects makeup. That's just a dummy with a wig that they hung in the tree. And that's just one last quick bonus thing for the road. Well, that's it for us on our 100th episode of Things You Didn't Know.
That's why we're on camera right now. We wanted to give you guys a special thanks for sticking with us through upwards of one episode, if this is your first one.
Yeah, welcome, by the way.
But if you are in the 100 club, thanks for all those views.
That's 100 episodes worth of tasty hoots and Tucci Paloozas.
And the hot cans. Don't forget the hot cans.
Can't forget the hot cans.
You are looking at the team behind the show. It's not as many people as you think. It's just us.
So make sure to subscribe and stick around for more true-ish things about movies, and sometimes Stanley Tucci, even though when we didn't talk about Stanley Tucci.
I mean, we found a way to work him in, though.
We worked him in. Right here on Things You Didn't Know.
This isn't a movie.
Sure it is, Sid. It's all a movie. It's all one great big movie.